This episode is brought to you by BusinessLink.
Imagine turning a $1 million loss into a nearly $3 million profit in a single year.
Right, and doing that not by, inventing some crazy new product or laying off half your staff.
Exactly. Just by changing how a computer reads your customers' messy, handwritten emails.
It's wild. Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. We are super thrilled to have you with us today. Our mission today is to, really extract the ultimate playbook for taking all this global supply chain chaos and economic uncertainty and somehow turning that into a massive competitive advantage.
Yeah, it's a playbook that, frankly, every business operator needs right now. And to build it, we're analyzing a pretty phenomenal stack of source material from an event that took place back on June 23.
Yeah, the Niagara Industrial Association's mid-year update.
Right, which was hosted by Jordan Sherlock. And the overarching theme there was tariffs, technology, and transformation.
And what makes these presentations so incredibly valuable is just the ground-level honesty of it all.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're looking at a specific region that's facing some intense macroeconomic headwinds, like an aging population, rapidly shifting trade policies, inflation.
But they're actively choosing to engineer their way out of the problem rather than just panicking.
Yeah, and that tone of adaptation over panic is exactly what we want to dissect for you today.
Before we can talk about how to innovate, though, we really need to understand the battlefield. So let's look at the macro reality first.
We have some fantastic data here from Blake Landry with the Niagara region and Brock Lewis from the Business Development Bank of Canada, or BDC.
Yeah, let's start with Blake's data. He showed that despite having an older population profile than the provincial average, Niagara's industrial construction has actually outperformed Ontario over the past 5 years.
Which naturally seems, kind of counterintuitive.
Totally.
If a region has an aging workforce and we're in this era of geopolitical tension, you would assume industrial investment would just cool off.
Right.
But the underlying mechanism here is really the time horizon of capital. Industrial construction is a multi-decade play. These building booms began way before the recent daily news cycle of tariff threats, reached a fever pitch. Smart capital looks past the immediate weather and builds for the long-term climate.
But when you look inside those buildings, at the manufacturing sector itself, there's this fascinating split.
Yeah, very distinct split.
Like the employment numbers overall might show some pressure, but the growth in advanced, innovation-focused sectors is just surging. I'm talking chemicals, food, and beverage processing.
Right, they're thriving.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the traditional sectors that are really heavily exposed to tariffs like auto products and primary metals, they're taking heavy hits.
It's a structural transition. When people read a headline that says, manufacturing is down, they immediately assume the whole sector is just hollowing out.
Yeah, that it's all dying.
Exactly. But the decline in traditional manufacturing GDP is actually a pivot. It's capital and labor moving away from easily commoditized goods and flowing toward those higher value advanced materials.
And that pivot is clearly paying off. Here's probably the most surprising bright spot from Blake's data.
Oh, yeah, this was wild.
Right. Despite all the panic about international trade wars, manufacturing exports in the region actually increased in 2025.
Which is nuts.
And this growth was driven by demand across North America, Europe, Asia, and it was super heavily concentrated in machinery and nickel products.
Because global demand for highly specialized components basically overrides tariff friction. If a European buyer absolutely needs a specific piece of, specialized Canadian machinery to keep their own plant running, they'll just absorb the cost.
They don't have a choice.
Exactly. But we do need to look at that friction, because Brock Lewis from BDC brought the real elephant in the room into sharp focus, which is Section 232 tariffs.
Okay, let's unpack this, because we hear the word tariff thrown around on the news constantly, but the actual mechanics of how it drains a company's bank account are rarely explained.
So true. Section 232 is a U.S. trade provision originally designed to restrict imports that threaten national security.
Right.
And historically, it was applied to raw materials. But the critical shift Brock highlighted is that these tariffs are increasingly bleeding into the value of the finished products crossing the border.
So if I can use an analogy here to put some math to this.
Yeah.
In the past, the tariff was just a tax on the flour. Let's say the flour cost $10 and there's a 10% tariff. That's a $1 tax.
Annoying, but manageable.
Exactly. But now it's becoming a tax on the entire cake you baked with that flour. So if the finished cake sells for $100, that same 10% tariff is now a $10 tax.
Yeah.
That completely wipes out the baker's profit margin.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that mathematical reality creates massive immediate demand volatility. Just imagine a mid-sized Canadian manufacturer. They have a rock-solid 3-year contract with a U.S. customer. Suddenly, because their finished machine contains that taxed flour, the border costs just spike.
The economics of the contract instantly break down.
Instantly. The U.S. customer starts aggressively looking for domestic alternatives, and the Canadian manufacturer is left holding the bag on expensive procurement costs and zero margin.
It's a total nightmare. I mean, you can't plan your payroll, let alone your year, if your biggest customer suddenly realizes your product is way more expensive to import.
You really can't.
So how does a business actually survive that kind of immediate shock without just laying everyone off?
Well, they need a financial bridge, which is exactly where BDC's response comes in. Brock detailed their steel and aluminum industry support program.
Right.
They made up to $1 billion in lending available, offering working capital loans ranging from $2 million up to $50 million.
Yeah.
But the structure is what really matters here. These are 36-month terms, structured as interest-only payments with a balloon payment of the principal at the very end.
Wait, why would a bank structure it that way? Deferring the principal for 3 years seems like a massive risk for the lender, doesn't it?
It is, but it's a calculated risk designed for stabilization. If a business is hit by a sudden tariff shock, draining their cash reserves to pay down loan principal just forces them into bankruptcy.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so by making it interest only, BDC is intentionally leaving cash in the business's checking account. This is explicitly not money to go build a new factory.
It's money to buy time.
Exactly. They need those 36 months to renegotiate broken contracts, source new domestic buyers, or explore international markets in Europe or Asia.
I really appreciate that pragmatic approach. It's about surviving the storm to fight another day. And at that June 23 event, the host, Jordan Sherlock, actually got a huge laugh from the crowd when he joked about this.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He joked that this particular BDC support program was way easier to get under than some other local funding initiatives.
Yeah, a good moment of levity there.
But beneath the joke, the truth is stark, right? You have to secure your runway.
Securing the runway is step one. But the crucial question for anyone listening is, once you have bought that time, what do you actually do with it?
Which brings us to the next major theme. You can't control U.S. trade policy. You can't vote away global inflation.
Nope.
You have to look inward. We are moving from the macroeconomics of the border to the micro operations of the shop floor.
And Neil Wilkinson from the Walker Advanced Manufacturing Innovation Center, or WAMIC, gave a presentation that fundamentally shifts how we need to view all this adversity.
Yeah, his core argument is that disruption is no longer just a localized weather event that you can hide from until it passes.
Right.
Disruption is the new climate. It is the permanent baseline.
Therefore, the only viable strategy is controlling the controllables, your operational excellence and your internal efficiency.
And Neil made a distinction that I think is a massive relief for mid-size operators. He separated research from innovation.
Yes, so important.
Research is a 10-year horizon. It's inventing a new polymer in a lab, spending millions on R&D and just hoping it pays off.
Yeah.
Innovation, however, is short-term, highly accessible, and totally focused on removing daily friction.
That framing really removes the intimidation factor. Mid-market companies often think they can't afford to be innovative because they picture, like, a team of PhDs in lab coats.
Right.
WAMIC exists to bridge that exact gap. They act as an outsourced applied engineering team for businesses that have a mechanical problem too complex to solve internally, but who just don't have the budget to hire a massive private engineering firm.
Here's where it gets really interesting. When people hear the word innovation, they almost always picture lasers, million-dollar robotic arms, artificial intelligence.
Oh, for sure.
But based on Neil's presentation, it sounds like innovation can literally just be reorganizing the warehouse layout so your forklift drivers don't travel as far.
What's fascinating here is that is the absolute purest form of innovation, and it relies entirely on company culture, not capital expenditure.
Really?
Yeah, Neil shared a perfect example. A company had floor employees complaining about repetitive strain injuries from this awkward manual sorting process.
Oh, a classic safety and HR headache right there. Most companies just hand out wrist braces and tell people to take more breaks.
Which is a catastrophic cultural failure. When management dismisses a floor worker's pain point, they permanently kill any future innovation from the ground up.
Because the employee learns that their insight is worthless.
Exactly. But in Neil's example, this company took the complaint seriously and went to WAMIC. They didn't install a $1 million robotic system. They engineered a modest, custom, ergonomic solution to just assist the sorting.
And what happened?
It eliminated the strain injury, and as a direct mathematical byproduct, it significantly boosted the speed of the line. The genesis of innovation was simply listening to the person doing the heavy lifting.
To see that ground-level innovation in action, Bob Benner from Hamel Machine Company shared 2 case studies that are frankly mind-blowing.
Oh, the Hamel stores are fantastic.
Let's look at the wine racks first. About 15 years ago, Hamel was hitting a slow period. So they looked at their local geography and noticed the Niagara wine sector was booming.
And they identified a specific friction point. Wineries were storing their barrels on traditional steel racks. But steel is incredibly heavy. It requires constant maintenance, and in a damp cellar, it rusts.
Obviously.
So Hamel designed a customized aluminum alternative. It was lighter, cleaner, and rust-proof.
But they hit a wall, right? They were manufacturing these aluminum racks entirely manually. An expert welder could only pump out about 2 barrel racks a day.
Yeah, and you simply cannot scale a profitable, sustainable business line on 2 units a day. The labor cost per unit is just too high.
Right.
So they engaged WAMIC to solve the bottleneck. Together, they developed an automated robotic welding fixture specifically for this product.
And the output numbers are staggering. By automating that one specific choke point, production skyrocketed from 2 a day to between 20 and 30 a day.
It's incredible.
That is a 10x to 15x increase in output with the exact same human footprint.
And that localized innovation had a massive ripple effect. Over the years, they've built 3,000 to 4,000 of these racks. They turned a slow period experiment into a year-round business line generating hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
They even optimized their logistics. Shipping giant aluminum racks across the country is basically paying to ship empty air.
Yeah, good point.
So they partnered with welders out in British Columbia, shipping the raw components flat-packed and having them assembled out west to cut transportation costs.
That is the definition of controlling the controllables. But the second case study Bob shared shows how innovation actually snowballs.
Oh, the microgreens.
Yeah. 8 years ago, a local agricultural grower walked into Hamel with a very niche request. They needed help harvesting microgreens, which was this slow, tedious, hand-cutting process.
So Hamel partnered with WAMIC and Niagara College, and they started prototyping. And this is vital to note, it was not an overnight success.
Right.
They iterated on prototypes for years, failing, tweaking, and refining the mechanics of an automated harvester.
And today, that microgreens harvesting equipment is a commercial powerhouse. It is distributed in more than 30 countries worldwide and generates roughly $2 million annually for Hamel.
From a local farmer's request to a global export?
But the snowball effect you mentioned earlier is the most instructive part. When you give a farmer a machine that drastically speeds up their harvesting, you instantly create a new bottleneck for them.
Right, because suddenly they have thousands of dirty microgreen trays piling up every hour, and they can't wash them fast enough by hand.
Exactly. So Hamel engineers a new product to solve the new problem-automated tray washing systems. And now those washing systems are being adapted and sold to entirely different industrial sectors outside of agriculture.
Solving one mechanical problem naturally revealed the next, creating just an endless cycle of product development.
It is the ultimate validation of Neil Wilkinson's philosophy. Innovation doesn't require a grand corporate master plan. It requires identifying one point of friction, like a heavy steel rack or a slow harvest engineering a fix, and remaining open to the new opportunities that fix creates.
Absolutely.
Okay, physical automation is incredible. Seeing a robotic welder scale output 15x is very tangible. But if a company scales their physical production that aggressively, their back office data is going to completely break down.
Oh, for sure. You can't manage 30 countries of distribution on a physical whiteboard.
No. To truly address the broader economic headwinds, we have to talk about digital transformation. This was the focus of Rowda Mohamud, the Director of Business Development at BDC Advisory Services.
And Rowda brought a pretty sobering reality check regarding the national productivity crisis. The data is unignorable. Canada's productivity performance has largely stagnated for 2 decades. We are severely trailing our peer economies in the G7.
I hear that statistic a lot, but what is the actual mechanism driving it? Why are we lagging so far behind?
It is a confluence of structural gaps. We have severe ongoing labor shortages. We have rising operating costs. But crucially, Canadian businesses have significantly lower levels of technology adoption compared to international peers. Think about the math here. If you cannot hire more workers and your materials cost more, the only way to avoid shrinking your business is to make the assets and people you already have drastically more efficient.
But the tide is turning, right? Rowda noted that 96% of Canadian SMEs are currently investing in digital technologies.
Yes.
The potential upside is massive. BDC estimates that if Canadian SMEs collectively achieved high digital maturity, it could unlock a 14% growth in national GDP.
That is hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
But Rowda offered a really vital warning. Adoption is not the same as acquisition.
Right.
Buying a software license does absolutely nothing for your productivity. Right now, across the country, businesses are sitting on technological gold mines. They are paying monthly fees for ERP systems and CRM platforms that have highly capable AI features built right into them.
But they don't use them.
Exactly. Those features are sitting dormant because the staff doesn't actually know how to use them.
So what does this all mean? Buying AI software without redesigning your workflow is like buying a top-of-the-line treadmill and using it to hang your laundry.
That's a perfect analogy.
The tool is there, but you aren't getting the gains.
This raises an important question, though. How does a mid-sized operator actually implement this without getting totally overwhelmed?
Yeah, because digital transformation sounds like a consultant's buzzword that ends up costing a fortune.
Exactly. So Rowda outlined a very strict 5-stage path to ensure businesses don't just throw money at custom AI and fail.
Let's walk through those stages. I assume step one is not, trying to build your own ChatGPT.
Far from it. Step 1 is strengthening your core business systems. Ensure your basic accounting, inventory, and ERP software are actually communicating with each other.
Make sure the basics work first.
Right. Then step 2 is adopting off-the-shelf generative AI for personal productivity. Let your team use AI to draft routine emails, summarize long PDFs, or format spreadsheets.
Oh, that makes sense. It builds psychological safety.
Exactly.
The staff learns the AI is a tool to help them, not a robot coming for their jobs.
Precisely the point. Step 3 is building a centralized knowledge base. AI is useless if your company's data is scattered across personal hard drives and sticky notes.
So true.
You must structure your information. Then step 4 is using that clean data to automate workflows across operations. And only at step 5, once the foundation is flawless, do you invest in customized AI or proprietary tech development.
To show what happens when you actually follow those steps, Rowda shared a case study about Foothills Group, which is a heavy equipment repair business out in Alberta.
Yeah, this is a great example.
They had modern software, but they were bleeding money due to a massive administrative bottleneck at intake. Their work orders were arriving as completely unstructured data.
And unstructured data is the enemy of scale. Imagine a mechanic writing a greasy note that says, bucket making weird grinding sound.
Right, or a customer sending a vague text about a broken hydraulic.
Exactly. A human dispatcher has to read that, interpret what it means, look up the corresponding part numbers, manually type it into the billing system, and route the mechanic. That administrative drag slows down the entire shop.
So Foothills Group applied AI specifically to target that intake friction. They use natural language processing to instantly read those messy, vague requests, automatically cross-reference them with inventory and labor codes, and instantly generate structured technical work orders.
The AI basically translates human messiness into machine efficiency.
But wait, hold on. Rowda stated that fixing this one administrative bottleneck allowed Foothills Group to flip a $1 million loss into a $2.7 million profit in a single year.
Yeah.
A $3.7 million swing just from fixing an intake form. That sounds almost too good to be true. How does the math actually support that?
It happens because the intake bottleneck was artificially capping their revenue. When you automate the translation of work orders, you instantly zero out hundreds of hours of administrative bloat.
Okay, I see.
The mechanics spend less time waiting for paperwork and more time actually turning wrenches. Jobs move through the bay faster. This means a company can handle a significantly higher volume of repair work and bill for more hours without having to hire a single extra administrative staff member.
Wow.
And that increased revenue just drops straight to the bottom line.
That is true digital maturity. They didn't adopt AI to look trendy. They aimed it like a sniper rifle at their most severe operational pain point.
Exactly.
But obviously, upgrading your systems or buying robotics requires capital. Which brings us back to BDC's role. Rowda highlighted the BDC Lift T program, a $500 million initiative designed specifically to fund this exact type of modernization.
And it is a holistic approach. The LIFT program isn't just about handing over a check and wishing you luck. It includes advisory support, readiness assessments, and implementation planning.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, they offer two distinct pathways. The first focuses on digital transformation and AI, covering system upgrades and cybersecurity. The second pathway focuses on productivity and advanced equipment, funding the physical robotics and automation we saw with Hamel Machine.
Because it is all connected, right? The physical robotic arm on the warehouse floor and the AI processing the data in the back office are two sides of the exact same coin, doing significantly more with the resources you already have.
Exactly.
We have covered incredible ground today, unpacking the insights from the Niagara Industrial Association's June 23 update. We started by looking at the harsh, unavoidable macro realities, how Section 232 tariffs have mutated to squeeze margins on finished goods.
Yeah, and we examined the defensive strategy of using structured financial tools like BDC's working capital loans to buy the crucial time needed to pivot your supply chains and contracts.
Then we zoomed in on the shop floor. We learned that disruption is the new climate, and you must engineer your way through it.
Right. We saw the tangible power of localized innovation. How applying robotics to a heavy aluminum wine rack or a niche microgreens harvester can scale a manual headache into a multi-million-dollar global export.
And finally, we explored the digital imperative. How moving from unstructured, messy data to AI-streamlined workflows is the key to unlocking massive profitability and really addressing the broader productivity stagnation holding businesses back.
Yeah.
So we want to turn this directly back to you listening right now. Take a hard look at your own daily operations. Are you stuck simply reacting to external pressures, complaining about the tariffs or inflation in your own industry?
Or are you actively searching for your own aluminum wine rack opportunity?
Exactly. More importantly, are you actually using the digital tools you are already paying for? Or did you buy a top-of-the-line treadmill just to use it to hang your laundry?
I'll leave you with this final thought to mull over.
Okay.
As generative artificial intelligence and automated robotics become cheap and widely accessible to every business on Earth, the technology itself will no longer be your competitive advantage.
That makes sense.
If your competitors have the exact same AI tools and the exact same robotic arms, the ultimate differentiator will be human culture.
Wow.
It will be your team's willingness to listen to the floor worker, identify friction, adapt to discomfort, and radically rethink old processes. Are you building a culture that's actually ready for the tools of tomorrow?
That is the question you need to answer. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep looking for those hidden inefficiencies, keep listening to the people doing the heavy lifting, and keep questioning the world around you. We'll see you next time.